Hi, it's Barbie. Welcome to the middle of the road. You know, a couple months ago, I put out a video about how the economy is being purposely crashed. Purposely crashed. And everything that I said that was about to take place is taking place. And I saw this, and what brought this up was I saw a post on Threads that I responded to, and then I had this woman who hopped on there. I guess it was a woman, this person, who hopped on there and was telling me that the real estate market was great and that there were no problems and this was just a correction and blah, 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 blah. Well, I started doing real estate in 1995 out in California. I've done it in Colorado and I've done it in Texas. I have been through the Defense Department cuts and all the defense contractors out in California. When I first got into the business, I saw a 25% decrease in the value of the houses at that time in that area. Because when you take like Lockheed at 25,000 employees and you knock them down in 2.5 years down to 9,000, that's thousands of homes, and they weren't the only company that was doing it in that area at that time. And then I went through the 2008 thing where that one really got me because then I was completely invested. There was no outside mother company working. You know what I'm saying? My husband and I both we worked for ourselves at the time. We had a real estate brokerage and a mortgage brokerage. We had worked our ways up to that. We lost rentals, we lost new cars, we lost everything. Kept thinking that everything was going to get better, but it just didn't until it was too late. And then it was save your ass, you know. And so I've been through all these ups and downs and sideways and stuff, and I know that there's still a few people out there that are going to be able to get a loan. I understand that. But like I said before, when the investment firms have come into the market, and they are artificially manipulating it back in 2020 and some even before then, but especially in 2020. And here's how they did it. Okay, for those that don't understand. The market is supposed to be kind of an organic organism. It does its thing. It ebbs and flows. Depends on the employment rates. It depends on all these other things, right? It's not just the housing market by itself. Just like with the housing market, also helps the rest of the economy grow, right? If you've got people buying new houses, you've got people going to J.C. Penney's and buying curtains. You've got them going to Walmart and getting new towels. You get my point. They're going to go to Home Depot so that they can go pick up, new lumber, new fence panels or whatever. You get the point. Everybody goes and immediately, as soon as they get into their new home, they start tinkering with it so that they can make it theirs. Usually because that's the first time that they own a new home and they want to make it theirs. But see, in 2020, what was happening was that where somebody would come along and say the house was worth $250,000, like an appraiser and like the regular market. When it went on the market, these investment firms, Blackstone, I mentioned that not too long ago, they screwed over everybody, and they were offering $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over the asking price. Now, most Americans weren't able to do that, and I'm repeating myself on some of this stuff, I realize, but I want to get the point across. There were people out there that couldn't. They had built, they had their 10% or their 3.5% for their FHA loan. They had their 20% down possibly, but they didn't have that extra $50,000 cash to throw in because the appraiser is not going to value the house at $300,000. You're just saying that you're going to offer it $300,000. You get it? So that $50,000 has to come in a cash chunk at the closing. Most people can't do that. Not on top of closing costs. Not on top of the insurance and prepaying taxes and all the fees and everything. No. So they manipulated the market because the next house that sold in that neighborhood, they used that as a comp. So it just artificially kept ticking up the box. Well, now Florida's seeing a 25% decrease in value, right? They've got, the last time I saw it was 6 to 8 months worth of inventory on the market. The housing, the builders, which is the reason why I got out of the industry in the first place, the builders are actually, were giving, oh God, where I was having to offer 7.25, they were offering 4.25. Well, why would I, okay, why would I do that to my client? Why would I do that to my client? Why would I know intentionally that I can't give them the best deal? Now, I know that there's people out there that do. I know that those people are way more successful than I am. But you know what? They don't have a conscience. Let's just put it that way. They have no problem screwing you over and looking themselves in the mirror. I couldn't do it, so I had to get out of the business because I saw how screwed up it was. Now we have the unemployment where the lines are stacking up. Houston has always been real good about having job fairs and such. Now, I understand there's some, oh, well, they don't always have the jobs and stuff. I understand that. But you still may be able to get a job through one of those job fairs because maybe they have somebody who's kind of slacking or not doing their whatever, or they're not showing up or whatever. You never know. Or they're about to leave. Maybe the position's not available now, but they know there's going to be a position coming up. They just can't advertise it yet. You know? But there are lines now. There are lines. When you go into the grocery store, it is very, 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 very easy right now to talk to people around you about the price of shit. Let's get real. Coffee's insane. My Cafe Bisuelo, which is what I've used for years now, because it's nice and robusty, but it's, it's not overwhelming. It's not, Anyway, I make it into regular coffee, not the espresso. $18.99 today. Now, Kroger had a sale, thank God, with a digital coupon. Thank God. So one coupon got me $4 off, or my card got me $4 off, and the digital coupon got me an additional $6 off. So I got to pay $8.99 for my Cafe Bisuelo today. Saved me $10 in coupons. Yeah. Meat's insane. Can't lie. I've actually gone to the reduced section to see what I could salvage. Isn't that sad? But when you look at the prices of meat, it breaks your heart because you see how much less you're going to be able to buy in the rest of the store, all because you want that protein. I've actually been researching recipes where you take rolled oats and make bread out of rolled oats. I mean, this is the point we're going to get to. He is purposely. Oh, the dollar's dropped. The dollar's dropped. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's fixing to happen that I do not think the American people are ready for. They're not ready for a depression. We have all accumulated into the cities like a bunch of rats. We have not paid attention to trying to sustain these little rural towns. The USDA actually has loan programs. They started, I think, oh God, I used to be so good at this. I think it was back in the 90s. I think it was in the 90s. You can get a 0 down payment on a USDA loan if you're out in the county, if you're in some dink-ass town somewhere. You know, where people used to have gardens in their yards everywhere. Where there was a little plant in town that basically helped the town stay running, or there was a big farm with a manufacturing facility on site or something like that, you know? We don't have that anymore. So this depression is going to be way different than the depression that we went through back in the 1930s. Besides the oppression that we're getting from the government. purposely bankrupting us. Purposely bankrupting us. Purposely taking away our health care. Purposely taking away food. Because let's get real, if you can't afford it, they're taking it away. If you go to the grocery store and you can't buy, in order to get all the rest of the groceries that you need, if you can't buy that meat, they're taking it away. I watched several people do a live while ago, and with Sons of Liberty, and we're not prepared for what's coming. And I don't want to be a doomsayer. I'm not trying to be that. But here's the other thing: is I'm not the only one that's saying it. You know, there's a lot of experts. Because like I've told y'all before, there's plenty of people out there that are much, much smarter than me. You know, they're experts, and they're saying we're in trouble. So start prepping. Start prepping what you can. Start figuring out how you can make alternatives to your lifestyle. Start figuring out, in 6 months from now, how are you going to be able to make bread?